how many rushing touchdowns does Jonathan Taylor have?
On the website Colts.com, they say, Taylor's 27 rushing touchdowns are a Colts record for the most over the first 2 years of a player's career, breaking James's record of 26.
That's great, but we need the 2021 season.
Hey, Google, how many touchdowns does Jonathan Taylor have in the 2021 NFL season?
Here's what I have for Jonathan Taylor in the 2020 NFL season.
So,
Season total of 12 touchdowns.
Google, hey Google, how many total touchdowns does Jonathan Taylor have in 2021?
Sorry, I don't have any information about that.
Google, you suck.
Welcome to the Packers family. I'm Christian Walter.
And I'm Damon Sewell.
And today we're going to be talking about our top 5 MVP candidates for this year. And there's some pretty spicy ones.
Spicy. Want to get started?
Sure. Start with number 5. I've got my boy Kyler Murray.
All right.
If you take Kyler Murray out of Arizona, I don't think they're going to be where they're at, even though they did play without him for a little while. They won some games, but I think he just gives that team a different dynamic. And there for a while, he was leading in the MVP until he hurt himself. But
And that's why I personally don't have him in my top 5. And kind of like how this is going to go is, as we're going, we're going to be talking about our reasons why we disagree or agree with us. And I disagree with Christian, no offense, but he has been injured. There's been a couple of games where he's able to shine enough to actually help his team. But I do agree with him. Without Kyler Murray, the Cardinals are not as good as that they are currently, and right now they are going down.
I still think it was good for them to get rid of Josh Rosen a few years ago and
absolutely.
go with Kyler's just one. Kyler's going to be a great player for years.
Absolutely. My number 5, now the way I view this is if you take the player off the team, the MVP doesn't mean best player. It means if you took them off their team, how many wins does that team drop? Basically, I'm saying is, does that team get hurt badly if this one player is off their team? And so my number 5, in lieu of choosing Matthew Stafford of the Rams, I'm actually going to choose Cooper Kupp. Now, I don't believe there's ever been a wide receiver to win MVP, so I'm kind of already shooting myself in the foot when I say I think Cooper Kupp should be the MVP, because wide receivers just don't get that. However, if you took Cooper Kupp off of the Rams, where are they now? Does Matthew Stafford have his safety valve in Cooper Kupp? Does he play as well as he has been? Are the Rams where they are? I don't believe they would be. Matter of fact, Cooper Kupp, if he has 2 really good games, and he's shown that he has, could be the first wide receiver in NFL history with 2,000 yards receiving. Now, that's an additional game, 17-game season, not a 16-game season, so I don't think he's up to where Calvin Johnson was when he was close to 2,000.
Yeah, that extra game matters.
That extra game matters.
You'd have a little asterisk, wouldn't it, by it, if he technically does?
I mean,
but it's still impressive.
Absolutely impressive. He has a chance at that 2K, and I just ask myself, without those 2,000 yards, who would be receiving that ball from Matthew Stafford? Odell Beckham didn't come in so much later, and I still don't think he's nearly as good as Cooper Kupp. So my number 5 is Cooper Kupp.
Probably would have been Robert Woods, honestly, if he didn't get hurt. If it was vice versa, they were gone. But yeah, I do respect that. I mean, Cooper Kupp's a beast, man.
He is.
If you take him away, I don't know
where they're at.
It's hard to say. I mean, I think another wide receiver gets some of that production, but not Cooper Kupp's level. Going into number 4, I think I personally have Justin Herbert. I don't think he's talked enough about. Yeah, he's had some bad games here and there, but you guys got to remember, this is still a brand new system for him. They got that new coach, Brandon Staley. They're still trying to put things together. I think they still probably sneak their way into the playoffs this year. I don't think they'll do a lot with it. But
if they didn't have Justin Herbert.
Yeah, if they didn't have Justin Herbert, you see where they were at for many years. They were bottom. So, that franchise has a lot to look up for.
Yeah, Justin Herbert's really, I wouldn't say turned them around, because they had Philip Rivers so long, but he's so much more dynamic than Philip Rivers was toward the end of Philip Rivers' career there. My number 4, I have Patrick Mahomes. Now, early on, Patrick Mahomes was really struggling and stuff, but as of late, he looks like Patrick Mahomes of old, and it's scary. And I mean, with him playing the way he is, and the Chiefs playing the way they are, they have a third straight Super Bowl in their sights.
Yeah, they're getting scary at the wrong time for the rest of the way.
But the reason why I don't have Patrick Mahomes higher is because, I mean, the way the season started out with him, he looked off. He threw some really bad interceptions, but now, he's back to tearing up the league like normal. So my fourth is Patrick Mahomes.
I respect it. This is where I come into my third pick. I have Patrick Mahomes. Pretty much the same thing you said. He started off a little sluggish, but now, the last few weeks, they've been putting it really together. He started to sling touchdowns left and right. So I did have Matthew Stafford here for a while, but I don't know, man.
He threw 3 interceptions.
I mean, he started to throw a lot of interceptions, and the Rams are hot and cold, so it's kind of hard to go with him, but Patrick Mahomes is my third.
My third is Jonathan Taylor. Now, there's been some debate on, like, hey, why would you give MVP to Jonathan Taylor when you didn't give it to Derrick Henry last year? Well, my reasoning for why Jonathan Taylor would deserve it more than what Derrick Henry would last year is because Jonathan Taylor is actually having less rush attempts compared to that of Derrick Henry. That's all the Titans would do, it seemed like, was just hand off to Derrick Henry. They actually try a few different things here and there because of Carson Wentz and some of their skill players, but that team runs through Jonathan Taylor, right?
Literally.
Without Jonathan Taylor, I don't think the Colts are even close to being where they're at, and they weren't that good to begin with, the beginning of the season, and then they really come along, and that's when they started using Jonathan Taylor the way they should be. Now, he's going to be the rushing leader this season by a long shot. 17 rushing touchdowns and 2 receiving touchdowns gives him a total of 19 touchdowns. That's a lot of touchdowns there. And so that is why Jonathan Taylor is my third.
I got him at 6, personally. Like
just missing it.
Just missing it for me. To me, quarterbacks are way too valuable. And I know it's overrated to say that sometimes, but man, some of them teams, you take that quarterback away, and it's
a lot more meaningful than it would be.
And some of those teams, you take a running back away,
yep,
they'll be fine. Not the Colts, so.
Yep.
Leading into number 2, I got Tom Brady. I mean,
I'll save us some time. I also have Tom Brady at number 2.
There's not much to say. He's the GOAT. He's got the Tampa, and he's looked better in Tampa than he did in New England, arguably to me. Now he's slinging the ball left and right, even if it is for 4 yards a play. I mean, that's why I got him out there. It's a lot of screen plays and dink and dunk plays, but that's how he's won all his years. I mean, it works for him. It's just not flashy enough for me.
And I have Tom Brady number 2. He's won a lot of games. And once again, you go back to, like, where would they be without Tom Brady? We'll think back to 2019 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of interceptions with the Jameis Winston and stuff. They didn't make the playoffs. You take them off, you probably have a very similar situation going on there without Tom Brady. Tom Brady's really unified that team. He's also leading the lead in passing yardage, and he's thrown a lot of touchdowns as well. But the reason why I don't have him number 1 is because he has shown to throw some interceptions, make some bad choices, un-Brady-like, honestly. And, I mean, and recently he's been skunked by the New Orleans Saints, too. So that's why I have him number 2.
Which leads into number 1.
And might be slightly biased, but maybe not either. Let's just
We're
be
Packers fans, but not even as a Packers fan. Like, I just don't see how you can't give it to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you take Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay, and I'm just not sure how good we're going to be doing this year. You know, we started off a little rough, week 1, but
that was preseason.
Pretty much. He didn't practice all preseason, all that shebang that happened. But putting that aside, since like halfway through the season, he's really heated up.
In the past, because I have Aaron Rodgers number 1 also. In the past 5 weeks, he has thrown 16 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
And that's where I have that split. Tom Brady might have more touchdowns than Rodgers, but that interception gap is that's just too impressive every year.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for a guy that can sling the ball downfield and just doesn't put it in harm's way hardly ever. That's what wins us games.
And you do some comparison also. Aaron Rodgers is dealing with a makeshift O-line. He's been dealing with that all season long. Like, he's had multiple rookies and undrafted guys in front of him, and he's still putting up the numbers. While Tom Brady has like this basically all-pro offensive line. Tom Brady has a top 5 defense on his side.
Has top 3 number 1 wide receivers that would be number 1s on any other team. You got Gronk, who is
Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the defense is doing better this year, but really, like, they've shown some propensity to let games go. Like, think about the past 2 weeks against the Ravens, against the Browns. The defense has shown that they can let up some points. Now, this year, the defense has been better than last, so hopefully that carries on to the playoffs and hopefully into the Super Bowl. But he's got Devontae Adams, you know, and his other skill players seem to be coming along too, but are they what Tampa has? I don't know.
I mean, Lazard's not as good as Chris Godwin, or, I mean, he's good.
So, we love Alan Lazard.
We love him, but man, like when you got AB, Godwin, Mike Evans, Gronk, they had Leonard Fournette, but they're still fine with Rojo back in the backfield. You know, we have a good running back attack too back there, which I arguably think is better than theirs. But,
yeah.
But for skill position, I say they got the better wideouts and tight ends.
The biggest thing for me is that offensive line. They're really good up front with the Buccaneers. But Aaron Rodgers feels like he has less to work with. And if you take Aaron Rodgers out of the Green Bay, and I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the offseason.
That's why we got to win it.
We got to win it now because I don't. Tampa Bay probably falls a lot without Tom Brady, but I don't think they fall nearly as hard as the Green Bay Packers do.
I can't forget, Rodgers been limping around too for a while now with that toe
and he's
injury.
been playing on a fractured toe.
Just like that.
But it's probably spread a little bit because you don't get that healed, it does spread.
It reminds me of 2014 season when Rodgers had that
leg
injury and still won MVP, and we almost had it that year.
We don't want to talk about that year. But who are your top 5 MVPs? Put it down in the comments below. Please subscribe if you like our content. And go Pack, go!